it is helpful for a lot of people to recognize that the harmful behaviors that they engage in and have engaged in are their responsibility to address, but are not necessarily, and in many ways are not their fault. And that, feelings of guilt, feelings of shame will rarely move us toward better behavior. And that to say to someone like, you were raised in a patriarchal system, you were shown movies that trivialize sexual assault, you were shown comic books and cartoons that made light of violence against women, you were never shown healthy representations of sexual consent. Your parents probably did not talk to you about what healthy consent could look like. You were shown countless depictions of violent, aggressive, coercive sex being depicted somehow as romantic. And to say to someone, that was your childhood, how could we possibly expect you to not cause harm to someone else? And to say, this is not your fault for the world that you were born into, and it's not your fault that no one ever gave you a healthy understanding, but you are responsible for how you've harmed someone, and you are responsible for changing and moving beyond those unhealthy narratives. I think, to me, that's just really important. And it's really important to make people feel empowered and say, yeah, you're not guilty of this. Like, you should be able to sleep at night. And if you have caused harm, that doesn't mean the whole world should shun you. You should have a support system to help you move beyond that. And even if you haven't caused direct harm, just because you have had harmful views or opinions, these are things that we can move beyond together. Yeah. I think the problem there is that people can feel really overwhelmed because when we imagine as sort of, liberal American politics would have us do, that the solution to every problem is just for individuals to try harder and work harder. When we visualize it that way, at least we have the comforting sense of well, okay, all I need to do is change all of my behavior. But when you realize that we are the products of structures of oppression, it becomes scary, because then the problem becomes not just our own individual behavior, which still needs to be addressed, but the problem also becomes that we still live in these oppressive and exploitative systems. And so I think where I stand, and I try to talk about this, is that we do not need to do one or the other. We do not need to either fix the systems of the world or fix our behavior. I think that we can address both simultaneously, and some of us are more primed to address systems, and some of us are more primed to address interpersonal behavior. But what I would say to every man is, it's your job right now to get working on undoing the harm that you've inherited and the hurt that you have taken on yourself. But also, we should probably start looking at how do we fix our culture? How do we fix our systems? How do we create a world that doesn't build on cycles of harm?